Basi kuluma naomba machensa banjani kwala mfana chocolate. Welcome back.
I'm not
Sorry, we
seeing.
we got disconnected. But we are back. We are back, and yeah, we're still gonna give you the news, and we're still gonna learn IsiZulu together. So do not worry. Do not worry. Let me bring back Mr. Laden again on the screen. Let's see, Mr. Laden, welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, that was refreshing.
Yeah.
I went to the Caribbean. I had a vacation.
How was the vacation?
Very short.
Yeah. Well, I think let's give the people the news. We can talk after. We can talk about our week and etc. after. Let's just give them the news because it's already 12 o'clock on our end. Do you think we
Yep,
can do that?
absolutely.
All right.
This week's news is pretty interesting too,
Yeah.
I have
All
to
right.
say.
Let's go to the news and then we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Global Sunday World News. Today is February 18th, 2024. Reporting for TGSN, I'm Mr. Ludden. Indian farmers in India continued pressing for higher prices for their crops and vowed to continue protesting until their demands are met by the government. The farmers have postponed a planned march to New Delhi, however, until farmers' unions hold another round of talks with the government ministers taking place actually right now as this broadcast is in progress. Those talks are just finishing. We do not have the results yet, but we will share them next week. Thousands of farmers had embarked on what is called the Let's Go to Delhi March earlier last week to press the government to set a minimum price for their produce, but were stopped by security forces about 200 kilometers away from the city, triggering clashes. The farmers remain camped on the border between Punjab and Haryana, the two of the states of India. Today, security forces have used concrete and metal barricades as well as drones carrying tear gas canisters to stop the advance of these protesters. The protest comes 2 years after Modi's government, following similar protest movements 2 years ago, repealed some farm laws and promised to find ways to support prices for all. Meanwhile, Italian produce farmers have also continued organized protests across the country to oppose the European Union's agricultural policies, demanding the EU and the Italian government to respond to their production and life difficulties. Thousands of farmers from all over Italy and even some government officials from agricultural regions marched to Rome to demonstrate against the EU's new environmental policies and the EU's large-scale import of agricultural products from outside of the EU. This is also the first time that Italian farmers have demonstrated in downtown Rome since this round of protests broke out. However, only a small number of tractors are allowed into the city. According to police requirements, not one but three rallies were staged by Italian farmers in Rome this past Thursday. Over 1,000 farmers flocked to the Italian capital from across the country. The crowd group was the main organizer of the protest. This group do not identify with any unions and are against Brussels rule. They traveled to Rome to deliver their message to the European Commission. Others instead decided to gather outside of the mayor's office later in the afternoon. Hundreds of protesters gathered in Rome for the day's final act of protest there at the mayor's office. And now we're going to cover a story that you've all been aware of that I have not touched on in quite some time. And that is the fact that former disgraced president, twice impeached and 4 times indicted up against 90 criminal charges, Donald Trump is in trouble still. The motorcade of failed US former President Donald Trump was seen driving off after he lost his bid to get his case dismissed on charges about hush money he paid to an adult film actress, Stormy Daniels, in an effort to protect his election bid for the presidency in 2016. As a result, Trump will become the first former US president to stand on trial on criminal charges after the New York judge denied his request to dismiss the indictment. The trial date is now set for March 25th. In a criminal case such as this, the defendant, Donald Trump, is required to show up every single day in court. The judge said he expects the trial to last 6 weeks. Trump maintains that this case is aimed at trying to derail his presidential campaign, in which he is the current frontrunner on the Republican Party ticket. But that's not all the trouble for Trump. Also in the news this weekend, Donald Trump has been ordered to pay over $354 million in penalties from having defrauded the state of New York and several lending institutions. This payment will actually become more than $454 million once the interest is factored in. And this total amount is added to the nearly $90 million that he must pay to E. Jean Carroll for defaming her after he raped her in a department store dressing room many decades ago. In addition to the financial penalties just leveled in New York, Trump is not allowed to do any business in the state of New York for 3 years, and his 2 sons are banned from the same for 2 years. This is just the beginning of several cases against the former president. On to Japan. Senior Japanese economists said the depreciation of the yen and the economic downturn, which impacted many domestic enterprises, are the reasons why Japan's 2023 GDP has dropped to 4th place in the world. Citing government data, national news agencies reported that Japan lost its world 3rd largest economy status to Germany, as its gross domestic product in 2023 stood at 59,148 trillion yen, the equivalent of approximately $394 billion. This is less than the German economy, which totaled 4.4 trillion. The Japanese economic data came as a big surprise for the markets. The Japanese real GDP, which is the actual GDP minus inflation, was based on 3rd quarter levels, which were lower than usual due to higher import costs and the lack of public spending. The Western specialists in the media call this a recession. Exports are high, companies are making massive profits, and the Japanese government is spending wildly. So this is anything but a recession. The 2 main reasons why this has happened are high import costs, and that was due to just the final weeks of the 3rd quarter, which has since dropped. The costs have dropped, and the drop is not reflected in that quarter's reporting, while simultaneously the yen dropped against the British pound and the euro. At the same time, there is less public spending due to the resulting inflation. Meanwhile, Western nations are in a far worse state, but in Japan, people are very worried. The markets reacted in a very interesting way, however. The NASDAQ went up and is edging closer to the biggest value since their highest value in 1989 at the peak of the bubble. This is a paradoxical reaction and indicates that this bad news is also in some ways good news. And so the state of economics is in flux as much as the politics and other unprecedented areas of human endeavor. Fundamentals are solid, exports are growing, and companies, as we said, are making record profits. It is the lack of public expenditure that is the big concern for the Japanese government. And now on to politics in Pakistan. To follow up on last week's news about the election in Pakistan, the details 1 week later are quite complex and a bit shocking. Or they would be if there weren't so many world leaders getting in legal hot water. Here goes. The acting chairman of the former Pakistan Prime Minister, Imran Khan, his PT party that the imprisoned leader had nominated Omar Ayub Khan as a candidate in the parliamentary vote to elect a new prime minister following last week's national election. Omar Ayub is currently in hiding, however, and is wanted on various investigations by law enforcement, including charges of taking part in rioting that followed Imran Khan's arrest. The polls showed no clear majority, as we said last week, for anyone other than independent candidates backed by Khan. Those candidates won 92 out of 264 seats, making it the largest group in the newly elected parliament. Khan ruled out alliances with the three other large parties, which means his candidate currently lacks the numbers to form a government. Khan's supporters ran as independents because they were barred by election commissions on technical grounds from contesting the polls under his party's electoral symbol. Despite the ban and Khan's imprisonment for convictions on charges ranging from leaking state secrets to corruption, his candidate won the largest number of votes. Millions of former supporters came out to vote for him, even though he cannot be part of any government while he remains in prison. Currently, his two main rivals appear on a course to take control after they formed a coalition. We will keep you updated on this bizarre story as it develops. It may seem that Pakistan is a long ways away, but when we look at these elections, we understand about things that are happening everywhere in the world. And it's very good to be warned. It's often said that to be warned is to be armed. And now on to the commentary. When you share something, what is it that you are actually sharing? You can share your food, you can share your opinion, but make sure someone actually wants it before you do. You can share your money, watch out. You can share your pain, and you can share your joy. There are some things that when you share them, when you give them away, they increase in you. Some of these things are love, kindness, compassion, understanding, encouragement, etc. They say a joy shared is a joy doubled. A problem shared is a problem halved. And this is true. But again, I ask, when you share something, what do you actually share? What you share is yourself. And when you share yourself, your emotion, and that part of you that truly cares for others, you're fulfilling your nature. Think about the things that make you happy rather than satisfied. To get a lot of money may give you some sort of happiness for the moment, but what it actually does, it satisfies your desire for money. Money will never make you happy in the long run. When you win an award or a sports match, you may feel excited, but you're satisfied that you did the best job. Anytime your ego wins games or is boosted up, there is a feeling of satisfaction. But satisfaction is not happiness. Only when we fulfill ourselves, our part of our nature, are we able to be happy. So when we truly share, we are sharing some part of ourself. We share one of those things that increases the more we give it away. By sharing, we are responding to and taking the action of caring about another person, place, or another thing. So always remember, just like my young children learned in their elementary school, sharing is caring. I'm Ken Ludden. Thank you for watching TGSN, and now we'll return to our program.
Sharing is caring. Welcome back to the Global Sunday Show. I call this I call this screen the naked screen. There you go. There's Lungani over there. Let's see what else. There you go. There you go. There you go.
Now the bottom part. Okay, now we are no longer naked.
Oh, that was a brilliant message. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Woohoo! Yeah. I think I think while we're on the topic of sharing and sharing is caring and sharing, I think I think that's in my opinion, I think that's the main purpose why a lot of us are here. Um, when I say here, I mean like here on Earth, why we exist, why we're here, to share. I mean, we could share things in different ways. For instance, you can share your talent. You know, you can share, because if you look at it, if you think about it, as a musician, if you're a musician, if you're a dancer, whatever um, skills that you have that you bring to the public, it's not actually yours. It's for you to share this skill with the community. Because why not go and just if you're talented, you have the skill, then you can just go and sing in your room privately by yourself or dance by yourself, and but I think we are given these skills so we can share with the public. It's the same thing with the name as well. We're given our names, we call them our names, but they're not actually our names. They are our people's names, because we don't go around saying Lungani, Lungani, Lungani. Except if you're me, you go around calling your name. but 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 your name is not your name. Your name is for people to call you, not it's not your name. So yeah. I mean I think that's such a powerful you know commentary that you just shared, and the message that you just I think it's powerful, yeah. So I just wanted to add that. So sharing is caring. Beautiful. Well said. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's very important, and also, um, I want to add to your comments, and please, out there, if you are Buddhist, if you are Islam, if you're Confucius, if you're Taoist, if you're Christian, if you're Jewish, whatever you are, please put in the word. I'm going to say the word God. Put in the word that is meaningful to you there. But they talk about God's abundance, okay? And God's love, and God is everywhere. Well, that abundance of God is all of the talents every single one of us has, all of the abilities, and our location. Where are you? I had a disease earlier in my life, a liver disease, for many years, and it made my system be off, and I ended up having terrible panic attacks. But the way that I got over them was, instead of saying I shouldn't be here, why am I here? I need to get away from here, which is what the panic attack says to you in your brain. I would say, okay, God put me here. Where am I? What can I do? Why am I here? Who can I help? What can I make better? What can I clean up? What can I organize? What can I, and that is how I kept in the present and didn't let that panic attack thing happen in my head. But without that, I mean, I learned a lot from that. I'm kind of grateful that that happened to me for those years, because I learned so much. But the abundance that is God's absolute abundance and absolute perfection, is all of the talents each one of you have, where you are, what's happening in front of you. Whatever's right in front of you, that's your job. That's your destiny. That's your dedication in life. There are the greater picture, of course, you know, but that is your destiny. And then when you think about love, that God is love and God is everywhere. Where is that love? It's in each one of us. Each one of us, we are created in the image of God, and all of the clerics in the world and in history agree on only two things about God. God is love and God is creation. So if we're in that image, that means we can love and we can create. And those are our gifts from God, and they come in so many ways. You might be a dancer, a singer, a poet, a builder. You might be very clever with strategy. You know what I mean? You might be good at military operations, and then you can perhaps protect people. It doesn't have to be just something that's always viewed as positive. You might be born very, very, very wealthy. So that raises the question, what do you do with your wealth? you're in that place with that wealth, with that authority, what are you going to do with it? You know? And that is what the abundance of God is. That's the love of God and the ability to create. And boy, all of you out there, many of you followers of the show, fans of the show, have shared things with us over the years that you've been doing, and it's amazing what you're doing, you know. And Langani is always encouraging you to interact with the show, you know, drop messages or even call in. We'd love it. We're not every person is a superstar. You know what I mean? It's not people more than others. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, you know, that why are we here? We're here to represent.
Mm.
And we're representing the love of God, the creativity of God, and the fulfillment of your nature and yourself. Sorry, I
Absolutely.
went so long.
No,
Now,
no, 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 no. I think it's safe to just say this. It's the end of the show now. Mr. Laden Mr.
we
Laden has
need to
spoken.
know,
It's the end
learn
of
more
the show.
Zulu.
Nobody speaks after Mr. Laden. We all know that. Even the public knows.
I don't know.
But let
Sometimes my kids don't quite know that, but
but I absolutely agree. That was brilliant. I had a little conversation with I'll add my comment after, okay? Let's take a short break and then we come back and learn IsiZulu, and then we'll do our closing statements and probably have a little talk about what you were talking about right now. So let's take a short break and then we'll come back, we'll learn IsiZulu, and
okay.
then we'll have a little talk. If you want to be part of the conversation, please drop those comments, and I would really, really appreciate if you do that, okay? We'll be right back. This is the Global Sunday Show with Lungani Gwala. Batsi, poo, 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 poo.
Diverse Global Studios
All right, so welcome to Learn IsiZulu with Lungani on the Global Sunday Show. Okay, so let's see what word we have today. This is going to be an interesting one, and it's going to be a challenging one. So please, please, please take it easy. Okay, take it easy, and follow the instruction, follow the teaching, and you definitely get it right. So let's look back to where we started. We started with Sawubona, which means hello. Sawubona, this is how we spell it. If you look below, this is how you spell it. Sawubona. As you can see, that pretty lady over there with the big smile showing you. Sawubona, this is how you pronounce it correctly. Okay, I want to tell you before I go on, I want to tell you a little bit about IsiZulu. IsiZulu is one of the most popular and famous language in Africa, Africa as a whole. So if you are planning to go to Africa, or specifically South Africa, I'd really advise you to watch the show every Sunday so you can learn a couple of Zulu words, and you can be able to engage and interact with people from South Africa. And Zulu is I love Zulu because it has a lot of different elements that you find in different languages. So if you learn Zulu, you most likely it's easier for you to learn other languages, other African languages as well. So learn isiZulu with Lungan. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago we looked at Sawubona, which means hello, and I did specify that you can use this word. You can say Sawubona whether it's in the morning, it's in the evening, it's in the afternoon. It doesn't matter, as long as you're seeing the person for the first time in that day. You say Sawubona. Now you have said Sawubona, and then the person responds Sawubona unjani. Unjani means how are you, and how you spell it, how you pronounce it, Ujani. As you can see, that pretty lady down there smiling at you, trying to show you the correct pronunciation so that you don't sound stupid, or you don't sound crazy, or people can easily understand you without being like, oh yeah, what? If you understand languages, as long as you have the correct accent, as long as you have the correct pronunciation, people can easily understand you and respond. So unjani means how are you, and yeah, that's all I can say. It's like how you say how are you. That's how you respond if a person says, if you want to extend the conversation, you just said hello, and now you want to ask them how they are. You can say unjani, which is how are you, and this is how you spell it. Okay, and then we also looked at ngiyaphila, okay, in which I don't know why all the time when it comes to ngiyaphila, it always disappears. It always disappears. I have to go find it somewhere. There you go, and it appears again. Right? Something special about unjani, ngiyaphila, actually. Something special about ngiyaphila. And it's really interesting because ngiyaphila means I'm fine, right? It means I'm alive, I'm fine, I'm okay. You can translate it into different ways depending on the context. But in this context, it means I'm fine, ngiyaphila. So we started with Sawubona, which means hello, and then you respond Sawubona unjani, which means how are you, and then you respond again ngiyaphila, which means I'm fine, and how you spell it ngiyaphila, just like how you peel the orange, ngiyaphila, pila, you add la at the end, peel la at the end. That's the correct pronunciation. Look, I think this is amazing because I've never seen something like this before, where you get even to learn the pronunciation. I think this is fantastic. So if you have any questions and you need to learn more about this, don't hesitate to contact me. Inbox me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, wherever you're watching this from. All right, so you're saying Yapila, I'm fine. And then we also learned Kuluma, which I think this was supposed to be like the very first lesson. Speak. Speak isiZulu. Kuluma, kuluma, kuluma. So if a person is quiet and they're not saying anything, you can be like, hey, kuluma, kuluma, speak, say something. All right, and this is how you pronounce it, kuluma, kuluma. All right, that's the correct pronunciation. And then, since it's the month of love, we also spoke about utando. We learned utando, which is love. How you spell it? Utando. And I remember a couple of you tried this last week, and it was really fun, including Mr. Ladin tried it. So yeah, utando means love, as we are in the month of love. So let's look at today's word. This is gonna be interesting. Are you ready? In three, two, one, and boom! Umuhle. Ooh, this is gonna be a tough one. Umuhle. Umuhle. You are beautiful. Umuhle means you are beautiful. Okay, it's really interesting because it's just one little tiny word that is hard to say, but then if you translate it, it's just like three different words that are long. It's just amazing. And how you spell it is umuhle, or how you pronounce it is u mu. So I've heard a lot of people who are non-Zulu speakers, and when they try to do this, I don't know what this is called. I know the clicks, called the clicks, but I don't know what this is called. I don't know what it's called. I'll look it up and then I can tell you what it's called. But it's it's on the side. It's on the side. It's on the one side of your mouth, and it's it's very tricky. This one is very tricky. This is something that you should like try every morning when you wake up. Like brush your teeth, and like play around with your tongue. So you can find the right spot for your tongue. And if you get it if you get it right, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's it, and then it will go away and then it will come back again, but you need to practice over and over again. So yeah, I tried to create something that will make sense for you if you are reading from home. So umuhle, umuhle, right? So that's the simplest way I can describe it to you. But if you want to know more and you want me to explain how you can easily get this right, yeah, you can send a voice note. Try it. I'll tell you how to play around with your tongue so you can get it right. So umuhle means you are beautiful. So go out there, if you have a South African friend, text them and say, hey, umuhle. And you'll see they'll respond with a smile, they'll blush. Most of the time that will be like the response. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful word. So there you go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in to Learn IsiZulu with Lungani Kuala. Tune in next time again on Sunday, same time, same place. Thank you so much. Let's get back to our show. Mr. Ladin, welcome back. Welcome back to the Global Sunday Show. And umuhle, umuhle.
Thank you too. So I know. Okay, there's bilabials, mama, papa, baba. Those are bilabials, the two lips. There's glottals, like toujours. That's a glottal. It's called. And then you've got the clicks, and that is it's a lingual palate interaction. The top palate and the tongue. Lingual means tongue. But this on the side, I don't know what that is. I have to look that up. It is an element of speech. There are I believe 126 things you can do between your throat, your jaw, your lips, your tongue, your mouth, and so there's all kinds of things. But anyway, that one, it's out of the side of the mouth, and it's something to do with the embouchure. The embouchure is the shape and how air comes through the opening of your mouth. But I don't know what that is. We'll have to look that up for next week.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting, and it's really interesting. The more I do these learning IsiZulu lessons, the more I find IsiZulu very interesting. Because I've been there, I've been around, I've been in different countries where we speak different languages, and normally when I'm listening to a person talk, I look at their mouth. I then I see these different things that the mouth does, And I think IsiZulu is unique. It's very unique. It's
Yeah.
very unique. Yeah, it's very interesting. So anyway, so yeah. Yeah, I'm also gonna
Another
do
thing,
research.
about IsiZulu that I've learned over the years is that a lot of the words for things
Mhm.
are related to the sound that the thing makes or the sound that you make when reacting to that thing. What is the word for yummy things to eat, Lingard?
Mm, Nandi, Nandi.
Okay, so
That is
so
actually that's true. Which
yeah.
it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. Because for instance, when you cooking and you know the sound of let's say you frying eggs, right? The sound that come from eggs being fried, that sound, we call it uklihliza.
Uh-huh.
We call it uklihliza. And it's exactly it sounds that the name of it sounds exactly it's in line with the sound. So it makes it much easier. I think whoever came up with the Zulu, I think they were smart. They're kind of smart, It's like, not because it's Zulu, it's just because it makes sense, Not because it's my language. It's just
It's but that's all right, Mangani. And by the way, I checked on the orders from Amazon. The surround you mirrors are on their way. We will they will arrive soon. But
I'm not coming out of the house and I'll be looking
no,
at myself.
thing about a language like Zulu,
Yeah.
obvious. Zulu, first of all, the Zulu people migrated from Ethiopia and Egypt all the way down through all of Africa, which is the largest continent. It's tribal. There are lots and lots and lots of different languages and customs. And I believe that if you look into the history of the development of the language, you'll see that the reason that those sounds are like what the thing is so that as you're traveling, as you're migrating, if you're nomadic as a tribe, when you run into other people, you can communicate. They can start to understand, and I think that's very much like the Zulu culture. I encourage all of you out there who are not Zulu to look into the Zulu culture. It is such a culture about community and family, and it does not assume that everybody's the same. It assumes that everybody has things in common. And that is a part of the brilliance of it. And also, the judicial system does not have to be organized because it's about the common good. And if something operates against the common good, then it is not tolerated because the society, the family, the neighborhood, the nation cannot hold together if part of it is operating against the common good. So and also just in Salvona means I see you, but it doesn't mean that me, the physical me, sees the physical you. It means that me and my ancestors and all of my history and all of my senses embrace you and all of what you represent. It's an incredible